Okay guys, today I want to get you started on the definition of the derivative lab. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to graph our equation that we want to find the derivative for. So go to y equals, and we're going to start with our equation y equals x squared. So we want to type in x squared. And then for our second equation, we want to use our limit definition of the derivative. So we want to type in basically f of x plus h minus f of x over h and have a way for the calculator to take that limit for us. So we're going to start by typing in the difference quotient. I'm going to show you how to use the variables function on your graphing calculator, so you only have to go back and change your initial function. You don't have to retype the function in the difference quotient every time. So what we want to do is we want to create a fraction. So we're going to do alpha y equals and select n over d. And then because we want f of x plus h, we're going to tell it to take our original function but then substitute in x plus h. So the way that we're going to do that is have it recall what our y1 is and then tell it to use x plus h instead of just x. So we want to go to VARS, and we want to go over to VARS and select the first option, which is function. And so we want to use y1, so we're going to hit enter again. And now to change the variable that we want to substitute into our function, we're going to tell it to use x plus h. So we're going to do parentheses, x plus, and h is over here in green, so I'm going to have to hit alpha and then the caret key in order to get h to appear. So this is the way that the graphing calculator will recognize f of x plus h. And then I want to subtract my function, my f of x, so I need to go back and tell it to subtract y1. So I'm going to go to VARS, yVARS, and then function, and select y1 again. And then in my denominator, I just need the variable h. So I'm going to go to alpha h. Now, before we graph this, we need to tell it what to use for h. So we need to store a value into our calculator for h. So I'm going to go back to the home screen by hitting second mode, second quit, and I'm going to store a very small value for h into the calculator. So this will allow the calculator to kind of approximate what is happening if we take this limit. So I'm going to store 0.00000000001 into my calculator. So 9 zeros and then the numeral 1. And I want it to store this value, so I'm going to hit store, and there should be a little arrow that pops up, and then I want it to store that value for the variable h. So I'm going to do alpha and caret to get h. And once I have it all set up, I'm going to hit enter. And if you want to test to make sure it actually works, you can go back and type in alpha h, and it should give you the exact value that you stored. So now that I have that stored, I can go to my graph, and it's going to graph my y1, which is x squared, and then it is going to graph y2, which is my derivative. And so if you need to change the window on your calculator to see more features as you continue through this lab, you can go to zoom and hit zoom standard if you want a basic 10 by 10 graph. You can also go to window, and if you go to window, you can adjust the x minimum and maximum and the y minimum and maximum however you want them to be, so you can see all of the key features on your graph. If your graph is in the middle of graphing something and you realize you made a mistake, so I'm going to go to y equals and go back to graph, and it doesn't want to do this because there's nothing new, so let me now change this to x cubed, If I go to graph something and I realize I made a mistake, you can hit the on key and it will pause your graph and you can go back to y equals and change what you need to change. So that should get you guys started on this lab. Have fun discovering different features, different rules of the derivative.